wanna ride. So baby, get with me, 'cause this party goes on all night. You never get this right, 'cause when you're rolling with a G, 'cause this party goes on all night.
Hello and good day, everyone. Welcome to the Real Source Podcast, and I'm your host, JD. Before we get started, I'd like to give a special thanks to our brother Rich for providing us with this beautiful, classical clothing that my man has. Amazing. The work on this, I have to say, is phenomenal. The texture, the quality, amazing, top notch. If you would like to purchase some of his clothing, all you got to do is check out richmercedes.com, and there it is right before your eyes. Now, as we will continue forward with today's episode, which is episode 11, the topic is one job enough to make a living in today's economy? Now, absolutely not. I'm going to start by saying that. Absolutely not. Unless you're a doctor or you're a lawyer and you got some real high-end job, computer engineer, where these brothers and sisters make a lot of money, then it's a little bit different. But that's a small percentage of the people, at least in America. And that's what we're focusing on. We're not going to say the world. We focus on where we are. So in America, you got the top percentage of those people that have those jobs are a very, very small percentage, where the rest of us are kind of, I don't want to say squandering, but we do other things that make up the products of what's going on in this economy. So with that being said, I think this is all based on where you live demographically. If you live in the city, hell no, is one job gonna be enough. Rent is too much, okay? Clothes is expensive. Food is expensive. And then especially for the people that work in these cities that have government jobs who are now not being paid to provide the services that they're providing for people who also still have to come to work and still do the best of their ability at their job without being paid, is kind of disheartening. It's kind of disheartening, let alone in the back of your mind what you're thinking about, how you got to pay your rent, how you got to pay your phone bill, how you got to provide for your children if you have children, or even just for yourself, just to make it through the regular momentum of throughout the day. Realistically, no. You've got to have some side hustles. You got to have some other things that you're into, whether it's volunteering or you're selling shirts on the side, or you make sandwiches, or you do some type of food services for kids or people that you're selling them your quality products. It's pretty hard, man. It's pretty hard. I can say, at least in a suburban environment, in the inner city, it's very hard to just survive off of one job. If you live in a community, in a suburban area, let's say like Amish town, right? So these people don't have the same issues that we have, those of us that work in the city. They have a community of people where they work together and it's all one job, whether it consists of farming, laboring, but it's all consisting of a communitarial aspect of the people that are working together. Whereas in the city, we are individually chasing this money, chasing to be able to survive for the next day. At one point in time, things were a little more inexpensive. I kind of feel like after COVID-19, a lot of people's businesses got messed up with that. I have my own personal people that I'm very close with who have expressed this, vehemently, regarding how, they were doing things, whatever businesses that they might have had at the time, and how it kind of slowed down and it kind of messed up for them. And one of my brothers in particularly took that opportunity to open up other businesses, which would be more valuable as far as in what's needed in today's economy. So things that we're dealing with, poverty, racism, oppression, these are all negative things that you have going on in the back of your head. Not to mention that you got to go work for somebody who probably doesn't even really care about you or appreciates you, and you're just another number to them. So you got to be mindful about what it is that you're doing for a living to provide and pay for whatever it is that is the necessities of what's important, as opposed to what it is that you like to endure recreationally. You know, we're all victims to that. Even people that own their own businesses, we're all victims to supply and demand, or demand for the supply. So once you come to that realization, try to find something that you love to do that makes you happy, because the best way to have a rich life is to do something that makes you happy. It's great to have the monetary aspects to come with it as well, and the assets that may come with it. But you want to do something that you love. That way it doesn't feel like it's work, because you already work. You already work for somebody else. You're already making somebody else money. So now you want to go get another part-time to do that for somebody else? No, take the time out. Draw up a blueprint, draw up some ideas, jot some ideas down. What it is that you like to do. Oh, I like clothes, or I like fashion, or I like cooking, or I like drawing, or I like art. Whatever it is, write it down on a piece of paper. That way you give yourself a momentum from where you can start from. And then try to look at how you can provide people with these services in whatever avenues that you may be in, whether it's social media, the internet, or it's just word to mouth, or it's face to face, but that is all indicated based upon what it is that you have, that you love as a side hustle, that you're willing to promote, So I'll give you an example, right? Me, myself. Used to be a rap artist. As a matter of fact, the song that you heard in the beginning is a song that me and my very good friend Danny Rose did, produced by my man A-Dub Beats. You want to check him out. He's at adubbeats.com. He's also on Instagram as well. But the thing is in coming to that realization, when I was making music or when I was doing something artistically, I wanted to do something that was going to make me feel rich in spirit. The money's not going to come right away. Okay, anything that comes right away ain't worth keeping for long. Always remember that. You got to put in the hard work, but you got to be dedicated, and you got to be willing to step outside of the box, not even using the word box, because when you use the word box, you've already boxed yourself in. So be universal, be beyond dimensions, be beyond perimeters. And in that, you will be able to be successful. And then what you base your success on, whether it's getting a lot of a little or a little of a lot, but at least it's something that you'll be doing that you love, and then maybe at some point in time, it can pick up and be something more, but we got to be very honest with ourselves. Most of us that have children, I myself do not have any children. Love kids, but I don't want no kids because I'm selfish as hell. And I want to travel and get up and go whenever I feel. So, even one job is still not enough. I still got to do other things, to make that applicable, and have a certain regimen. But jot these things down. I know we spoke about this before, about money, about spending money and trying to save money. The same application applies to this. You got to write stuff down. All the leaders, all the great people in the world write stuff down. They really do, as a reminder, as a refresher, as to keep you motivated, as to keep you stimulated and invigorated to do the things that is necessary to bring peace to your mind and your spirit and your body. So with that being said, find what it is that you love truly and dearly, do all the research that you need to do in regarding that. Sit down, even if you may need help. Hey, listen, they got Chat GPT. Y'all could look it up on how to draw the outline for that. All of that stuff is available. So make usage of your time, because remember, time is the only thing that is affected to us. It is not affected by its own. The way that this has all been devised is like the bosses are the puppet masters and we're the puppets attached to the string, and if you are in any age range where you can at least be aware of some of the things we saw, there was a movie that we grew up watching as kids called Pinocchio, right? And Geppetto was the puppet master, right? And Pinocchio was the puppet. And Geppetto moved his strings on Pinocchio to get Pinocchio to do whatever it was that Pinocchio would do, right? We're not going to go into the other part where he became a real kid. We just going off of that. So the analogy that I'm trying to use with that is like, this is what our bosses are, okay? They're the puppet masters, right? And we're the puppets. They dictate to you what time you got to come into work, what time you got to go to lunch, if you can even take a break. When you want to go on vacation or you want to take time off, you got to get approved. Then you got to make sure that when you put in that time, it's in a time that's applicable prior to anyone else that might have put in that time that may have more seniority than you. Even though the motherfucker may be lazy and don't do no work, okay? And you may be a great worker, but this is just what it is that we are dealing with. So, coming to this overstanding of what is really, really transpiring here is that we are all slaves, okay? And we are all expendable. So once you come to that realization, it is for you to make the necessary actions, take the necessary actions into moving forward and how you don't be in that situation where you got to be stuck. Or if I call out today, I might get written up, or they might fire me, or just anything that's going to make you have doubt in your head. From the moment that we wake up in the morning and you cross the street to go to work, or you get on the subway and, anything is possible. Anything negative can happen, just like anything positive can happen too. But you got to wake up in that mindset. You got to wake up in that mind state. You got to wake up and say, damn, I'm happy to be alive, And yeah, I may be a puppet, but I'm trying to become Mr. Rogers, okay? And Mr. Rogers was a brother on Channel 13 who used to work with puppets and used to entertain kids. Well, in the grand scheme of things, that's kind of like what these bosses do to us. They give us a little bone and hope that we be happy and do whatever it is. Now, mind you, they want to also put extra work on us, but then they don't want to pay us extra either. Okay, there's different perimeters to what's going on with this. And, when you really sit and you reflect and you take the time out to observe and analyze what these situations are and how they benefit you, they don't benefit you at all for the most part. Other than the fact that maybe you might have insurance so you can be covered for your kids and your family and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we are all props on a Broadway stage is what it is. And I say Broadway because Broadway is the biggest when it comes to plays and shows. And I use that because that's what this is encompassing. That's what these big companies do. They hire these people. They throw them a certain amount that they're worth per hour. And by all actuality, there's nothing at a job that's going to pay you what your true worth is worth. When you put in that work, when you put in that blood, sweat, and tears, when you can say, I sacrificed, and I went from being a puppet to now I'm a puppet master. The difference is you got to move in a different action with your mindset. You can't be cold-blooded and treat people like shit. Treat people the same way that you want to be treated, because that's what good bosses do. My daddy taught me a long, long time ago when he used to run in the street. He used to say, you take care of your workers and your workers won't do you dirty. And he was right. Now, there are instances where you take care of your workers and your workers still ain't happy because they want your spot. But the whole point of the matter is this. In this world that we live in, there are leaders and there are followers. There are bosses and there are workers. I'm not saying that you got to just be a worker or you just got to be a boss, because my man is a boss, but he's also a worker. So if you're going to be a worker that has boss ideas and wants to move towards that direction of getting those things done. Otherwise, don't complain about being Pinocchio on stage. Be happy with the little bit of pay that they give you. If that's what it's going to be, don't complain if you ain't willing to change. if you ain't willing to do the necessary things that's going to help you and your family and benefit you. I think we take it for granted, because maybe the shutdown hasn't happened right away, or EMP hasn't come to knock out of the services of the technological devices that we have, with cell phones and the internet and all that. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere. And, I'm not saying this to y'all in a yelling matter. I'm saying this because I'm passionate. I'm passionate because I want y'all to see what's going on, okay? This is not about a black and white thing. This is about a people thing, okay? And the same way that we're being done wrong is the same way that there's others that's being done wrong as well, too. Until we make a stand and we unify and we come to a common goal with a common cause and how we can create communities and provide job services for our people so we can be doing the right thing amongst each other rather than working for somebody else, as I like to call them, massa white. They don't necessarily got to be white, but I use the word white because white is pure, right? So, we gonna go for the pure because everything that's black is dark and negative. We already in a dark, negative space. All right, we need to cut the bullshit out and stop making excuses. All right, and stop feeling sorry for ourselves. And the moment we do that, you know what we do? We take what is one of my favorite words, and I tell y'all that all the time. It's called accountability, y'all. Let's see where we going.
Welcome to a world where cleaning is not just a chore, but a passion. Experience the excellence of our cleaning company, where every surface shines with joy. Our employees are the heart of our service, finding satisfaction in making your space pristine. Their dedication reflects in every satisfied customer's smile. Experience the Clean Connect 360 difference today. Visit our website or give us a call to sign up. Always remember, you point and we clean. Clean Connect 360, the company that cares.
So, under topic 3, which will be the final topic, what we will be discussing is, are you willing to do what is necessary to have financial freedom? Are you willing to take the necessary sacrifices that you're going to have to for yourself, for your family, to be in a better place spiritually, mentally, physically, and financially? Are you no longer going to rely on the government and welfare? Hey, look, they cutting off the food stamps, and I feel bad because, there's people that really need that stuff, and then there's some of us that use it and take advantage of it, but the truth of the matter is this: are you willing to let go the things that hold you down, right? That suppress your inner greatness, as opposed to being afraid and taking the opportunity to venture out and do what it is that's going to make you happy. And one of the analogies that I'm going to use for this is school. We all went to school, right? Most of us that live in the city, unless you live in the jungle, right? And you're around a tribal people where you're learning from that community. But I'm going to give you this example. And I use myself as a prime culprit for this. Every time I went to a new school, I was scared. I was scared. I wasn't scared so much of the kids. I was scared of the environment because it was a new thing, right? And eventually I got very comfortable, and eventually I became adaptable. And eventually I had friends, and we played, and we did all types of stuff outside of school. So my whole point is, what I'm trying to say is, you got to use this same mindset when you're entering the world of creating your own, okay? The same mindset. You're going to go in there with fear. You may be afraid. Listen, if you ain't afraid, then you ain't breathing. You got to be afraid. There's got to be something in you that's got to give a little bit of that. Now, being afraid and having fear is two completely different things. Being afraid is like, you know what? Logically, I hope this goes the way that I want. I'm willing to deal with whatever the outcome is. Now, when you got fear, you scared of everything. You ain't trying to do nothing at all. because the outside world has got you fooled into thinking that no matter what, oh, if I eat this cereal the wrong way, I may choke and die. Or if I put on my tie or my suit the wrong way, I may choke myself out. You know, all these negative things that we're being bombarded with every day from all these different avenues. If it ain't TV and commercials, it's movies, it's TV shows, it's the girl that you're dating, or if you're the girl, it's the guy that you're dating. You know, it's always some type of outside pressure. So you are always gonna deal with pressure, okay? Always. That goes without saying, you know? Whether you're rich or you're broke as a motherfucking joke, you're still gonna have to deal with pressure. It's different levels of this pressure. Now, the thing is this, are you willing to do what is necessary to take yourself out of that comfort zone? Out of that, well, you know, I can just do this and just get by, because this is okay. If you're willing to take yourself out of that, then that's great already. That's in the process of becoming great. Okay, and great is what's great for you. It's not what's great for everybody else. It's not how you want to be noticed through your greatness. It's the indelible mark that you want to leave on people with your greatness. You want to touch people's souls. You want to touch their memory bank. You want to touch their karma hard drive. So now when they think about, they say, wow, you know, I remember at one point in time, I was really afraid to really go out there and just try to do something that I wanted to do. And, you know, and I got inspiration from these different brothers, or I saw this show, or I saw this lecture that inspired me to want to take the chance. And listen, it's way better to try and fail than to not try at all, because you've already failed when you don't try. Remember this, and remember this clearly. In any room that you want to walk into, don't be afraid, okay? And if they don't want you sitting at the table, well, you go get the pieces of wood to go build your own table so you can sit at it. All right now.
Welcome to a world where cleaning is not just a chore, but a passion. Experience the excellence of our cleaning company, where every surface shines with joy. Our employees are the heart of our service, finding satisfaction in making your space pristine. Their dedication reflects in every satisfied customer's smile. Experience the Clean Connect 360 difference today. Visit our website or give us a call to sign up. Always remember, you point and we clean. Clean Connect 360, the company that cares.
Did you know Shirley Ann Jackson, born in 1946, is a renowned physicist and academic leader? She is the first African-American woman to earn a doctorate from MIT and is recognized for her groundbreaking contribution in telecommunications research, which contributed to the development of the touch-tone phone, the portable fax, fiber optic cables, and the caller ID. In 2014, President Barack Obama appointed her as a co-chair of the President's Intelligence Advisory Board. Thank you for tuning in to the one and only Real Source Podcast. I'm your host, JD. And if you enjoyed this episode, share it with a friend and subscribe. And please visit us at YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Be kind, be well, be safe. I'm out.
All night, 'cause this party goes on all
This is classical, feeling is magical. Anything other than this is unimaginable. Just living a dream, fantasies is being played out. Deja vu, reenacting the scene. Calculate, add the numbers up, money is clean. Directive is the same, keep a positive team. Let's get together, all walk with a lean. Good impression felt and left, never acting obscene. We could parley to the early morn, drinking the brew. Or we could take liquor shots, reminisce with the crew. Palette and many in the flavors is so tasteful. Educate with proper etiquette and so graceful. Grew up around ghetto streets but not hateful. Had a balance in my life growing up youthful. Children of a different tune, keep it all playful. Let the music come and grab you and it won't escape you. I know you wanna ride.